The purpose of today's event is to spread awareness of the Here and Now Museum's pledge to reform cultural documentation. Consequently, this video has been curated as an example of the project's reimagined ideals to conserve using relatable and accessible means. Taking note is the pilot for a matrix of community-centric, neighbourhood-scale archives across Cairo. Cairo is a chaotic megapolis of 22 million made up of many diverse districts. However, its institutions currently fail to recognise that true culture comes from moments within the everyday. Cairo's museums have been reduced to a symbol of oppression, devoid of relatable representation. They stand merely as a means for rulers to reaffirm their authority over the past. Insider accounts point to a history of misguided social and economic policies as the catalyst for the ongoing friction between the government regime and informal population. In 2011, the people overthrew the government at the cost of 900 civilian lives. Unfortunately, victory was short-lived as a military dictatorship quickly stepped in to reclaim control. Despite 60% of the population living informally, President El-Sisi is currently enacting his plan to demolish all slums to make way for his new capital, which is ripe with hostile plazas and westernised architecture to prevent further public retaliation. Eradication is not a threat, it is a reality. So, to kickstart the conservation of informal Cairo, I launched the Here and Now website to combat the silencer. To facilitate further change, Taking Note acts as a feasibility study which applies an inclusive approach to consultation, construction and curation. My interest in well-being and ambition to provide an alternative approach to conservation inspired initial research into the components of Cairo's soundscape. As it is the world's third loudest city, I bought a decibel meter to guide my exploration. Sound is fundamental to Cairoians, so my Derive asked residents undertaking daily activities to make their biggest and best sounds. Enacting simple forms of self-expression sparked joy in locals, and conversations helped me identify some key scenarios. There is a lack of quiet space to relax and foster mental well-being, and the community appreciate the noisy chaos, but they can't control it. The project brief quickly evolved into a journey which responds to Cairo's emotional past, haphazard present, and rises to the future. Conservation and architectural presence alone cannot resolve deep-rooted social issues. However, Taking Note can gift choice. The tools provided support the informal community to action how they want to remember, record, and amplify their legacy. Tempered refuge spaces can be used to reflect on those lost in the uprising. Controlled archives and conservation facilities uncover untold stories. Varied exhibition and event spaces celebrate everyday culture, and public facilities stimulate occupation and knowledge exchange between staff and locals. Accessible resources aid the discussion and celebration of the informal's future by the informal. Fictional readings and personal experiences help me explore memory as a means to create social unity and reaffirmed the importance of conserving relatable artefacts. Life is a balancing act between living in the present and learning from the past. Memories can evoke emotion and allow transportation to moments. However, if they aren't cherished, they can be corrupted by time. Memory triggers allow us to appreciate the everyday by reducing the symptom of forgetting. Therefore, to help the informal community be heard and cherished, I sought out a site where sounds and activities from the city could be stored and reproduced in a controlled but contextual environment. The heart of historic Cairo is a culturally rich 10th century UNESCO heritage site where mass migration in the 19th century led to residential blocks being densely packed between ancient mosques, workshops and ruins. Using my decibel meter, I was able to find a rare moment of open space surrounded by history and culture. Inspired by the rich patchwork surroundings, I began designing with self-organisation and integration into the context as key concepts. The site's adjacencies have been incorporated into the scheme, including a carpenter's studio to the north and rubble walls to the east and west, which bear the scars of demolition commissioned by the President. Standing at the core of the site, a veil of calm washes over you, as the unique approach mediates the seemingly inescapable vehicular noise pollution from the adjacent street market. Taking Note is both founded and built from the ruins of unethical demolition. The public debate tower, wrapped in concrete made from reclaimed aggregates, rises from the rubble to create an anchor point to entice passers-by. The contemporary design uses local materials, considers access, cost, and the importance of employing local craftspeople. The material strategy honours the ruins and allows for delineation between the remaining spaces which are dispersed across the site. Taking Note complements, but also challenges the efficient space-saving vernacular. On approach, you are offered a choice of your preferred level of interaction with the scheme. A shaded, uninterrupted route respects the existing walls and follows the site boundary. A direct route sinks into an implied courtyard where public offerings encourage pedestrians to slow down and engage. And the sensory street fully embraces the context to express the project's agenda as an interactive thoroughfare. The courtyard is pivotal to the scheme's success. The living room and tea shop spill into the public realm, connecting the two buildings at ground level. Conservation spaces have a vantage point over and amongst the context, and celebrated skylights spark intrigue in visitors as they suggest activity below. An underground archive protects the treasures of the past. Above, a conservation centre learns about the present. The sensory street celebrates the informal, and a debate tower hosts discussion of the future. Each facility has a buffer zone to mediate the contrasting relationships between spaces, where community interaction can thrive, sheltered by distinctive roof forms which maximise natural ventilation, sunlight diffusion, and acoustic control. The conservation layer is level with the public realm and hosts a narrative recording centre where stories told in the adjacent tea shop can be collected with ease. Throughout the level, inside floor treatments change to suggest waiting spaces and define where public becomes private. The public are given further glimpses into the archive, while controlled double-height conservation labs enjoy comfortable, naturally lit working conditions. The archive is accessible from both buildings to ensure maximum exposure to its discrete, embedded exhibition. The circulation tells the tale of the archive's agenda to combat the silencer. The journey exposes the government's immoral actions, designates a memorial for the civilians lost in the uprising, and concludes with a strategy room which overlooks ongoing conservation to empower action. Pools of natural light will guide you through the archive exhibition. In between moments of reflection, the archive proudly flaunts its treasures through glazed screens, and memory walls allow interaction with less delicate objects. Accessibility of knowledge is promoted at all times. At every turn you will witness the hands-on conservation approach, as items are maintained or raised out of the archive to public consultation rooms, where researchers can work with locals to gain greater insight into artefacts. To cater to the informal tendency for self-organisation, Taking Note offers the community power over their environments. The basement is regulated using a plenum. Fresh air is dragged into the archive by the pressure difference created from the circulation tower at the opposite corner of the site, and is dispersed through grilles in the floor. Interconnectivity continues throughout the building. As the exhibition perforates the archive, research consultation rooms abut public activity below to take advantage of buoyancy ventilation where possible. In the desert climate, mechanical systems will be required at times. However, easy maintenance and passive resilience is promoted. A concrete framework provides reliable thermal mass. A simple precast envelope offers low embodied carbon and future flexibility. And sustainable technologies will be applied when necessary to provide energy independence. The sensory street exhibition uses an alternative environmental approach. The space mediates the tension between context and content by embracing the climatic conditions, but by controlling the acoustics. Interactive items and their supporting narratives are displayed to give objects a clear voice to communicate with viewers. The series of conicals with varying heights, interchangeable roof panels and curtains will allow locals to curate the space as desired. Flexible measures allow artefacts to be given space as individuals within a stimulating collective context. Light diffused from above will guide visitors and locals through the street. Protected from the outside by walls ingrained with the site's history, the legacy of the informal will thrive. But remember, Taking Note values choice. Therefore, existing masonry walls are also repaired to create a juxtaposing, calm ambience in the memory courtyard, where sentimental items can be respectfully donated into the archive collection. A microclimate of clean air is maintained by irrigated planting that uses recycled water to create a moment of designated refuge amidst the chaotic backdrop. Having reflected on the importance of preserving the informal, the higher floors facilitate action. The debate tower provides a public reading room and centralises around a debate forum where locals can discuss how they want their legacy represented. Cairo ritualises expression from above, as minarets and pigeon towers fill the skyline. Taking Note's pedestal will do the same. A shaded event space can be used to amplify the informal's voice and act as a positive beacon for the community. Thank you for listening.